So Media Voices has been going now for about 8 years. We started out as a podcast, but more recently we became a newsletter business as much as a podcast business. We also do events. We started the Publisher Podcast Awards. That then became the Publisher Podcast Awards and the Publisher Newsletter Awards. And then that spun out into some conferences. So again, we started with the podcast conference, and then we had the newsletter conference. And this year we've got 4 separate tracks. We've got Publisher Podcast Summit, Publisher Newsletter Summit, but we've also got a print summit and an app summit. It's really about sharing the expertise that the people in the room have, not that we have. The whole point about the podcast was always, it's never, pointing out people's mistakes or doing that kind of gotcha journalism. It was always about learning from people. And we've taken that same thing straight across into the events. One of the reasons that we do the awards is because it's a great way to learn what people are doing. They're in June the 10th and the 11th, over 2 days. And really, again, it's that idea that how can we talk to people that are going to share their stories? So it could be case studies, could be fireside chats. I hate that phrase actually, because there's never a fire, right? It's just always a chat. But that idea of just trying to find out what people are doing. The other thing that we're huge on, again, another phrase I hate is networking, but it's about people meeting each other, sharing their own stories, and we take that into the awards in the evening. So our first awards is our newsletter awards, that's on the 10th. And then the next day we have the podcast summit and the app summit during the day, and the podcast awards are in the evening. One of the things that I get out of that is just seeing people talking to each other. You could have someone from, The Economist and The Spectator talking to each other about what they're doing. And I love that. I think that's fantastic, because I think that's where the real learning comes from. Well, it's brand new. It only happened a couple of weeks ago. I've known Colin for a long time. I've probably known him for more than 10 years, probably 15 years. He's a very, very smart man. And one of the things that I've always believed is if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to be in a different room. And one of the things we're working with Colin is we've got this, we've got all his experience, all his contacts, all his breadth of knowledge that's going on, and that comes into what we're doing with the podcast. I think what Colin gets from that is we have a different focus. Colin's focus is on senior people, money, numbers, all that top line stuff. Our focus tends to be on the product side. So I think coming together, there's a really interesting Venn diagram there. We'll continue to serve the product people, and he'll continue to serve the senior management people. But there's a really interesting middle part to that I think we'll be able to grow on top of that. Also, he's got a great subscriptions business. We have a good sponsorship business. He doesn't have any sponsorship. We don't have any subscriptions. So I think we can bring that together. Yeah, the other thing from Colin is he's worked on his own for so long, doing Flashes and Flames, and now he's got people to talk to, which is, that's a great thing, right?